What's up everybody, it's Sean here and I'm super excited to give you guys my review of the New Balance 991 V2 in the silver blue and turbulence colorway. So this is probably the most hyped and most anticipated general release colorway of the New Balance 991 V2 so far. Releasing randomly throughout the past few days, these have released alongside the 991 V2 in the rosewood colorway as well, but arguably this one is the star of the show and the one that's the most highly anticipated. Why, you ask? Well, prior to the drop, a lot of people online were talking about how this shoe, or this colorway specifically, reminds them of the inertia colorway of the Adidas Yeezy Boost 700. And yes, there definitely are similarities between the two shoes, but that's not personally why I was drawn to this pair. It's just a really dope colorway, regardless of whether it looks like some other shoe or not. So these retailed for a price of $250 US, which is going to be roughly 350 Canadian dollars converted. And the official colorway for this shoe is silver blue, turbulence, and quiet gray, and the style code is U991SG2. So this pair, just like any other 991 V2, is made in New Balance's factory in Flimby, England. And that explains why the price point on these shoes are so incredibly high once you account for the tariffs or the duties bringing them into North America. But enough talk, let's dive right into the details and I'll give you guys a closer look. So starting things off with the toe box, the base layer here is constructed out of a light gray colored mesh, and right above this towards the laces, we have the silver reflective 3M panel. Overlaid on both sides of the toe box, we have this tan colored synthetic overlay, and then surrounding the front toe cap, we have a very plush and buttery grayish blue colored pig suede. This same suede covers the mid panel of the shoe, and then stitched on top of this we have the New Balance N logo, which is again done in this reflective 3M finish. Beneath this we have another suede layer, but this is done in a darker blue shade. And then this also covers the top two eyelets, which in themselves are constructed out of a gray colored TPU, and this dark blue suede continues downwards towards the heel. Above this we can see more of that gray colored mesh surrounding the top portion of the ankle collar area, and then wrapping around the bottom of the heel we have another overlay of that light blue grayish suede. We have the circular cutout on the lateral side exposing another reflective panel with 991 branding embroidered across. In the middle of the heel we have another tan colored synthetic overlay with V2 branding embroidered in this pink tone, and then on the top of the heel we have another reflective panel here as well. Covering the bottom of the heel we have this TPU heel clip which gives you structure and support for the back end of the sneaker. And then turning our attention back to the front, in terms of laces, these come with two different lace options. The standard lace that they come with is a light gray colored flat lace, but they also come with a secondary black colored lace. Underneath this, the tongue is primarily constructed out of that same gray colored mesh that we saw covering the body of the shoe. On the top of the tongue though, we have this synthetic tan overlay, just like the one we saw covering the toe box. We have V2 branding embroidered in the middle, and then on the top of the tongue, we have New Balance Made in England 991 branding embroidered across. The interior of the shoe is covered in this textile, and then same thing for the insoles. This is your typical foam line insole, and as usual we have New Balance branding pressed onto the heel. So the upper of the shoe, it sits atop this chunky foam midsole, which is constructed out of 3 New Balance foam technologies. So for the most part, this is constructed out of fuel cell foam, which is one of New Balance's top running shoe cushioning technologies. So you can see the midsole is painted in this tan color on the forefoot and gray towards the back half. And we also have New Balance's end cap technology, which is a dual density foam setup consisting of a softer EVA core surrounded by a stiffer polyurethane rim, giving you a good balance of softness and support. And before I forget, we also have New Balance's Absorb SBS technology, which are these gel-like pods visible on the lateral forefoot as well as on the lateral heel. And this helps with impact protection and shock absorption. Finally, turning this pair over to the bottom, so this outsole is constructed out of rubber in 2 tones, and we have this wavy cutout running down the entire length of the outsole, revealing a contrasting pink colored foam, which is New Balance's fuel cell foam technology, which sits within the midsole of this shoe. So that breaks down the look and the construction of this shoe. For those wondering about sizing, so my foot measures as a true size 10, slightly on the wider side, meaning when I go to a shoe store, step on a Brannick device, I'm actually a size 10 in between a D and an E width. So my usual 991 or 991 V2 size is true to size, aka a size 10. Getting these in a size 10 however, I noticed that for this specific pair, they ran ever so slightly roomier than some of my other 991 V2s. So I've already reviewed a few colorways of the 991 V2, and all of those colorways, they fit pretty consistently. In general, the 991 V2 is a sneaker that fits kind of snug around the ball of your foot right here. So usually I can feel a little bit of that pressure just clamping down on top of the ball of my foot, whereas the length of the shoe runs a little bit long, but not enough that it feels uncomfortable. So getting these in a size 10, the length was exactly the same, but I did notice that there wasn't as much pressure around the ball of my foot as those other pairs. I'm guessing this is just purely a manufacturer's inconsistency, because I've seen online on Reddit, for example, a lot of people are complaining about the same issue I usually face with this pressure around this area. So with that said, I'm going to recommend most people to stick true to size, especially if you have a higher instep, for example, or a wider foot. So as an example, I also go true to size or a size 10 in some other New Balance silhouettes like the 1500, 1530, the 2002R, 1906R, and 860 V2. Whereas I go a half size down to a 9.5 in a lot of made in USA New Balance models like the 992, 993, 990 V3, V4, V5, and V6. Moving on to the comfort, so these feel pretty comfortable on foot, but it's a shoe that I find you kind of have to break in, and they feel more comfortable the more you wear them. When you compare this to something like a 990 V6, which is pretty soft, pretty bouncy, and a little bit wobbly straight out of the box, this pair in comparison has a lot more support, it feels more stable, and it doesn't have nearly as much of that bouncy feeling as the 990 V6. But I've seen people say that they've broken in their pairs and they feel extremely comfortable, which makes sense considering it does contain fuel cell, but it's supported by more stable cushioning technologies like NCAP. So if you're looking for a shoe that's a little bit more balanced than a 990 V6, but you don't mind something that's not super soft, then I think this would be a really good option. Finally, in terms of the quality and craftsmanship, so first off, the material quality I was very happy with. This is made in England like I mentioned before, but even comparing this pair to some of my other made in England pairs, I thought the material quality on this pair was a little bit better than some of my other pairs. But the suedes felt extra buttery, and yes, they do utilize synthetic materials on the shoe, but that's kind of a given across any New Balance sneaker. And from a build and craftsmanship standpoint, honestly, my pair was pretty much flawless. The panels were consistent between my left foot and the right foot, no visible glue stains that I could see, so I was extremely pleased with how these turned out in real life. So with all that out of the way now, let me toss these on feet, I'll lace them up for you, and I'll show you guys how these look. Whether or not you like this shoe because it's similar to the inertia colorway of the Yeezy 700, or it's just a fresh colorway that's independent of any comparisons to other hype shoes, at the end of the day, in my opinion, this is a beautiful colorway. And even though this is a general release, because it's flying off the shelves, it shows you really how popular and how well New Balance executed this colorway. I love the variety of the tones used on this shoe, the blues complemented with these tan hits, and of course the peachy pink tones. It gives it just enough pop to make it stand out, meaning it's pretty much a shoe that I can wear across all the 4 seasons. So drop a comment to let me know, what do you guys think about the silver blue colorway of the New Balance 991 V2? For anyone watching, were you guys lucky enough to grab these for retail? Are you still waiting for these to have a mass release here in North America? Or it's not really your thing and you're not feeling this colorway whatsoever? As usual, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. You can follow me on Instagram at esco8, follow me on X at sean.go_spoutout, and visit my website at seango.ca. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoy this review, and I'll catch you guys all in the next one.